In today's video, we're going to turn this boring chord progression into an awesome, epic, incredible chord progression that sounds like this. How's it going? I'm Dave and my channel is all about helping you create awesome neo-soul, R&B and other modern sounds on your guitar. If you're new here and that sounds like your kind of thing, make sure you hit that subscribe button and you click the notification bell so that you're notified every single time I release a new video. So just a quick overview of today's lesson. I'm going to be showing you how to take that boring chord progression at the start. We're going to do things like adding extensions and embellishments to those chords to make them sound a bit more sophisticated. Then we're going to add some passing chords. On top of that, I'm going to show you how to use cool inversions and voicings to switch up your chords a little bit, make them sound a little bit nicer. And then also I'm going to show you how to add an element of melody into your chord progressions to make sure they sound really smooth and listenable for the listener. So let's get started. So we started off with a very basic chord progression, C, A minor, F and G. It's a 1, 6, 4, 5 in the key of C. Let's take a listen. Now the first thing we can do is embellish and extend these chords, make them sound a bit more sophisticated. So I'm going to show you a chart on the screen now. So you can download this chart down in the description for free. When you get the first 2 chapters of my book, you'll see the link in the description. And this chart shows you loads of different options you've got for each chord in your key. So for example, for chord 1 in the key of C, a C major, we could play a sus2 chord, a sus4 chord, a major 6 chord, a major 6-9 chord, a major 7 chord, a major 9 chord, a major 13 chord. And I might have forgotten some, I'm just going off the top of my head here. But for example, we could use the major 6-9 chord, which is what I used in the chord progression, the second chord progression that sounds a little bit better. C major, 6-9, okay? So then we move to our 6th chord. As you can see, we've got loads of different options for our 6th chord. We've got stuff like -7, -9, -11. I played a -7 for this chord progression, so we're playing an A minor 7. Now, when you download the first 2 chapters of my book, all the chord diagrams for every single one of these chords is in those first 2 chapters that you get for free. So you don't have to go around looking for all of these different chord shapes. They're all in there for you. We're playing an A minor 7, okay? Then the next chord is F, it's our 4 chord. As you can see, for our 4 chord, we've got loads of different options. We've got things like 6-9 sharp 11 chords, major 7 sharp 11 chords, major 9s, all these cool different options, but I chose just the standard major 7. Okay, so we're playing F major 7. So far we've got C 6-9, A minor 7, F major 7, and then I decided for the 5 chord, which is G major, as you can see all the options down below, I decided to play a G11 chord. Okay, G11 is one of my favorite chords. This is a chord that is used a lot in neo-soul. Then I turned that G11 into a G13 flat 9. Okay, this is an altered dominant chord, and unfortunately you're gonna have to buy my book if you want to learn about altered dominant chords. But we're playing, it's a dominant 13 chord with a flat 9. And it just adds a lot more tension than the standard dominant chord. Altered dominant chords, that's what their purpose is. They add a lot more tension and give us a bit more of a jazzier sound. And then we're resolving back on C, so I decided to play, this is our chord 1, so you can see all the options. I chose a major 9, okay? Okay, so we're playing C 6-9, A minor 7, F major 7, G11, and then G13 flat 9, and then C major 9. So there we go, that's the first step. The next thing we want to do is add some passing chords into our chord progression. This just makes the transition between chords a little bit more interesting to listen to. There are 2 main types of passing chords that I like to use. I like to use secondary dominants, and I like to use diminished 7th chords, and I'm going to show you how to use both. Secondary dominant chords are where we play a dominant 7th chord, a 5th above whatever the next chord in the chord progression is. So let me show you how I did that in this chord progression. C to A minor, okay, or C 6-9 I should say, to A minor 7, okay, we're going to A minor 7 So our secondary dominant chord is going to be a fifth above A. So a fifth above A is E, okay? And we're playing an E7. Hear how that really leads nicely into that A minor 7. Okay? To add even more tension, I turned this E7 into an altered dominant chord as well. I played an E7 sharp 5. Very, very nice. Then I also played a secondary dominant between the A minor 7 and the F major 7. So we're going to F major 7. That means we have to play a dominant 7th chord a fifth above F. So I played C7 leading into F. Hear how that tension is created when you play that C7. And it's released when we go to the F major 7. I also decided to arpeggiate the C7 as well. But more on that later. Now we're going from F major 7 to G11. Okay? When there are two chords that are a tone apart, it's really good to, in the middle, put a diminished 7th chord. So I played an F sharp diminished 7th chord as our passing chord. So we're playing F major 7, F sharp diminished 7th, and then into our G11. Okay? And that is the passing chord section of the video. The next thing we want to do is add some inversions and different voicings to our chords. I'm playing a C6-9 for the first chord. Now I decided to play a C major 7 afterwards, but I didn't just play it in root position, I played it in first inversion, and I used the drop 3 voicing. A drop 3 voicing is where we have a 4-note chord and we take the third highest note and drop it down an octave, and we get a sound that sounds a bit like this. This is the chord I used for the C major 7 in first inversion. Very, very nice shape. 7 on the A, 5 on the G, 8 on the B, 7 on the high E. Okay? So I went from my C6-9 into my C major 7 first inversion. And then that led into that E7 sharp 5. Okay? Then I played a different voicing for this E7. I played another altered dominant voicing, which looks like this. Okay, really, really awesome voicing here. 0, 1, 1, 3. This is a dominant 7, sharp 5, sharp 9 chord. We're playing an E7, sharp 5, sharp 9. We're not actually playing the E in the bass though. It's a rootless one. Then when we get to the C7, that passing chord before the F major 7, I play root position, then I play it in first inversion. Okay, this is a drop 2 voicing, so we take the second highest note, drop it down an octave. And it looks like that. Okay, so drop 2, drop 3, drop 2 and 3, drop 2 and 4 voicings are some really, really cool voicings you can use in your chord progressions for voice leading and also to create some interesting new sounds. If you want to open up your chords a little bit, drop voicings can do that for you. If you want to learn about drop voicings, I've done a series which you can check out there. And finally, we want to add some melody into the chord progression. I'm not saying create a melody, I'm just saying have a melodic element in your chord progressions. And by that I mean the fact that our ears are drawn to the highest note in each chord that we're playing. So the transition between those notes should sound quite nice. So if we take this C6-9, that's the top note, and then we take the C major 7, that's the top note. Okay, so we're going. Then we move to the E7 sharp 5. Okay, I actually added a flat 9 in there as well. I forgot about that earlier on. The flat 9 is the first fret of the high E string. Okay, we're playing. Okay, the melody doesn't have to be groundbreaking, it just has to sort of make sense and not sound bad, okay? This is what's going to make your chord progressions flow nicely. Then I just added some melody to this chord. Alright? The next note should be there. It logically sounds like it should go there, which I do in my A minor 7, okay? Then I added a bit of melody by arpeggiating that C7. Okay, we finished there and we're heading to here. Okay, then we move to the next chord, that F sharp diminished 7th. We've still got that same note on top. The G11, we've still got the same note on top. Then the G13, flat 9, we've got that high E string, so we're going. and then I come back down like that. So, and we finish on that note as well. All right, it's a really cool note. It's actually the 2nd or the 9th in our key. All right, and it sometimes sounds really cool to finish on that note rather than just the root note, which sounds a bit basic. So altogether, the melody sort of sounds like this. Sounds a little bit plain on its own, doesn't sound like a great melody, but the melody kind of goes somewhere at least, okay? It doesn't need to be a good melody, as I said earlier. But make sure you're thinking about the top note in each chord that you're playing. If it doesn't work, then maybe you can just take that top note out and play the next highest note, and it might work better with all the other chords that you're playing. So just something else to think about in your chord progression. So there, we've fixed a boring chord progression, turned it into something that sounds awesome. As I said, the first 2 chapters of my book are completely free. Down in the description, you're gonna get that diagram with all of the different chord options you've got in your key, and it's gonna have all of the diagrams for every single chord there. That's in the 2nd chapter. The 1st chapter is gonna show you 3 different methods for writing chord progressions, how to build tension with your chords, how to release tension with your chords as well. It's going to be really, really handy for you. And if you're interested in the book, here's a little bit more about it. Chord Charisma 2.0 is a complete guide to writing incredible, jaw-dropping chord progressions. Everything you need to know about harmony and chords is contained within this book. It will take you through the basics of building tension and releasing your chord progressions, and will build upon this foundation with more advanced concepts like jazzy extended chords, borrowed chords from other keys, and cool substitutions to take your chord progression knowledge and ability to the next level. There is a serious amount of content in this book, but it's laid out in a structured fashion with action steps at the end of each chapter to make sure you fully internalized and are actually able to use what you've learned from the book in your playing. That's really, really important. It's a very practical book, which will get you writing new progressions straight away, guaranteed. You'll also have access to personal feedback on your progressions from me via the Chord Charisma Facebook community. And as a bonus, I've thrown in a soloing guide to go with the book, so you won't get lost when you're trying to play licks over your new and improved chord progressions. Head to the link in the description to grab your copy of Chord Charisma 2.0 today.